Welcome to Mornings with Ken Rosato. Today is Thursday, March 12th, 2026. We will take your calls at 888-658-0234 to kick things off. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast near you.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
All right, Mike. So heavy rains came through the Northeast last night, indicating what, a
Yeah,
front coming through, I'm guessing. I remember my Weather 101.
that's right. It was a powerful cold front, Ken, damaging winds in southern New Jersey, gusts over 60 miles per hour. The straight line winds that moved through. You can see just how vivid they were here on the radar picture, especially throughout the overnight into this morning. The bright shades of red entering southern New Jersey, even some thunder and lightning up there in northern New Jersey. Well, we get another round throughout the course of this morning into the afternoon, those now crossing the Delaware and into the rest of the day. Plan on that wet weather. Not as heavy of a rain, but you can see right now live at 7:01, most of those showers across northern New Jersey, across Route 80 and Route 78 as they march their way eastward into Morris County right now. So those showers taking over across most of the state in the next few hours. The futurecast shows with that front lining up all across the Northeast and the colder weather that follows, there will be a significant cold blast of air that sends our temperatures down to feeling like the 20s and 30s into tonight and tomorrow with a reinforcing shot of cold air. Might even feel like the teens come Saturday morning. That's how cold we're talking. Now into Sunday, there's a little bit of warm weather that returns, milder compared to the accumulating snows off to our west. That stays well off to our west, but still with reinforcing shots of cool weather, we don't see a warm up, at least anytime soon, as we head into the next few days. So here's our rain that pretty much lasts right throughout the rest of the day with that clearing that happens overnight into tomorrow. So while tomorrow was a sunny day to start, there's clouds and showers that return by the afternoon. We just can't seem to get rid of this rain. Then as we head into Saturday, a dry day all day long, but it will feel much cooler. And then by Sunday morning, you see some flurries trying to work their way into the picture, but still, I think most of that stays off to our south and west. Speak of the complete opposite, out to the desert southwest, record warmth down through LA, even up through San Francisco, 25 degrees above average today and tomorrow as that warmth spreads eastward, even out toward Phoenix, places that usually don't see weather this hot this early. So depending on your location, you get the weather on both sides of the spectrum, the extremes, Ken, going from 80s from yesterday in Newark, dropping about 50 degrees to feeling like the 30s later on this evening.
Yikes. Yikes. That's a
Yeah,
big spread. My goodness,
it's
I
a
just
big
got a
one.
little chill. By the way, let's think ahead to the warm weather when we have the FIFA World Cup right here in northern New Jersey at the Meadowlands. So, what's going to happen is we're going to have a news conference. This morning, we're going to air it in its entirety at 11 a.m. It is called the Flag Cities World Cup Press Conference. So it's at 11 a.m. today, right here on New Jersey, ONNJ.com. We want you to make sure you tune in. It's going to have all the details of all the exciting things going on. And that is for the big FIFA World Cup. New Jersey, New York area going to be transformed by the 1.1 million people coming here. So this is our chance to shine. So I just want to give you a heads up. You're going to be busy doing forecasts 20 times a
Of
day for
course,
that. So can't
absolutely.
wait. All right, Mike. Appreciate you, sir. Right now we have a temperature of 61 degrees in Trenton. It is 61 also northern New Jersey. It is actually warmer here than Los Angeles, where it's 58 degrees. In terms of traffic, we have a disabled vehicle 280 eastbound at exit 5 in Roseland, left lane of 3 lanes closed, really just causing a little bit of brake checking as you can see through the area. Not a big major problem. Hudson River Crossings, it's 15 minutes at the Holland. It's 20 minutes now at the Lincoln Tunnel. GWB upper and lower levels, not too bad. You can see there is a little motion going on. That's going to cost you 25 to 30 and upper level on the right, lower on the left. We go, a reminder again that we have to remind you, New Jersey Transit, NJ Transit, their rail service had been reduced for the last month, roughly by 50%. Starting next week, we're going to be back to the old schedule. So you'll have the app, use the NJ Transit app, and make sure you check your train schedules because we're going back to the old schedule because the Portal Bridge, the new one, the Portal North Bridge, is going to be open. Everything should be pretty much back on schedule. Now to the West Coast we go. We have a collision in Newhall at the 405 and 118. That's by the 405 North Connector. And there's also a closure of a roadway, and this is in Baldwin Park, and that's at Route 71 by Mission Boulevard off-ramp. It's 5 minutes past the hour. ABC reporting the FBI warned California that Iran could launch a drone attack on the West Coast. State and federal authorities are on it. Meantime, the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad is on alert after threats of possible attacks by Iran there. Meanwhile, 3 ships off of Iran's coast in the Strait of Hormuz have been struck by projectiles. Shipping traffic through the strait has ground to a near standstill since the U.S. and Israel launched airstrikes on Iran back on February 28th. President Trump says, in spite of this, the U.S. and Israel have accomplished way more than expected at this point.
I mean, for them, it's a war. For us, it's turned out to be easier than we thought. But think of it, they had thousands of missiles, 7,000, 8,000 missiles. We got many of them before they got to launch. They have drones all over the place. We got many now. We're knocking out the drone plants, as you know, going fast. They started talking about mines, so we hit 28 mine ships as of this moment, 28. Like using the same weapon, the exact same weapon that we use against the drug dealers.
U.S. forces sank several Iranian ships Tuesday, including 16 mine layers, which puts a big dent in their ability to cause damage and harm to other people. Well, a former FBI agent believes the decision not to call in civilian search experts in the hunt for Nancy Guthrie could signal that authorities are close to making an arrest. United Cajun Navy, which is a volunteer-led search organization, announced last week it had offered help to the Pima County Sheriff's Department as the search for the missing 84-year-old reached the month mark. However, they say they did not receive a response from police. Nancy Guthrie was reported missing February 1st. Her family is offering a $1 million reward for her recovery. Former Vice President Kamala Harris canceling her California book tour, eliminating the remainder of her currently scheduled stops in the Golden State. On Tuesday, the former presidential candidate pulled out of her book tour stops for her memoir, 107 Days, for Sacramento, San Diego, and Anaheim. Those are now canceled. The appearances had been scheduled for next month. Ticketmaster refunded ticket holders and explained the cancellations of a conversation with Kamala Harris were due to a scheduling conflict. Harris's last event had been in Oakland on March 3rd, and she remains scheduled for an event in Denver on April 2nd. The disgraced San Diego bishop accused of frequenting Mexican brothels and stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars from his church was officially removed from his role by Pope Leo XIV. Bishop Emmanuel Scialetta's resignation was accepted by the 70-year-old pontiff Tuesday, the same day he was released from prison after posting $125,000 bail. Scialetta was arrested on March 6th at San Diego International Airport when he allegedly tried to board a flight to Germany with over $9,000 in cash in his bag. The 69-year-old prelate was charged with 8 counts of embezzlement, 8 counts of money laundering, and 1 count of aggravated white-collar crime enhancement. Well, California officials have issued a heat advisory affecting more than 5 million residents, warning that dangerously high temperatures will grip the region through tomorrow evening. The National Weather Service is urging people to stay indoors during the hottest parts of the day, today and tomorrow, as an unusually early season heat event pushes temperatures into the 90s across much of Southern California. Forecasters say the 34-hour advisory covering San Diego, Orange, Riverside, San Bernardino, Los Angeles, and Ventura counties could lead to heat-related illnesses, especially for people without access to air conditioning or for those who must spend time outdoors. Meteorologist Mike Favetta will have more when he does his forecast at the quarter of the hour. A Honduran migrant was arrested Tuesday for randomly shoving 2 strangers onto Upper East Side subway tracks over the weekend. One of the victims was an 83-year-old man. 34-year-old Byron Hernandez was nabbed by the U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force and the NYPD at a homeless shelter in Brooklyn. He allegedly pushed the elderly victim and a 31-year-old man at the Lexington Avenue 63rd Street station midday Sunday. Hernandez was charged with attempted murder, attempted assault, and reckless endangerment. And the parents of a girl who was critically wounded in last month's mass shooting in Canada are suing ChatGPT creator OpenAI, claiming it knew that trans gunman Jesse Van Rootseller was planning the mass murder. 12-year-old Maya Gabala was shot 3 times, including once in her head during the attack. at her British Columbia school back on February 10th. She suffered a catastrophic brain injury that will leave her with permanent disabilities. The lawsuit claims that 18-year-old trans gunman Van Rootseller used the chatbot ChatGPT to plan the actual shooting that killed 8 people and wounded 27 others. Some ChatGPT employees say they wanted to notify police about Van Rootseller, but the company would not allow them. The mass shooting was the latest by a transgender killer, sparking fears of a mental health crisis. We will be speaking with News Nation's Elizabeth Pran a little bit later in the broadcast on more details about that. And far left-wing New York City Council members have proposed a record-breaking $30 per hour minimum wage bill, a measure that could nearly double the city's current baseline pay of $17. Employers with upward of 500 employees would lift workers' salaries to $20 an hour by 2027, with steady increases every year to 2030, when it will end at $30 per hour. That is, if they don't pass another bill between now and then. Smaller employers with fewer than 500 workers still have to pay an increase, $29 an hour by 2031. The change would affect upward of 1 million workers in New York City currently making minimum wage and struggling to make ends meet. Now, while it is expensive and it is difficult for so many people to make ends meet on the pay that they get in New York, and certainly on minimum wage, it's very difficult. Progressives have long called for a super high minimum wage that's more in line with the city's high cost of living, but many business leaders warn it'll be a costly disaster for employers. Here's what happens. California recently tried such a move. It was a disaster. Employers simply eliminated positions to make up for the lost money, and they dumped the additional workload on employees getting the increased minimum wage. You're getting paid more, you're going to work more. They also cut hours and replaced workers with automation. The net result, fewer available jobs, massive workloads for workers, and for the customer, way higher costs. That's why you walk into a McDonald's today, you walk out $30 later, and all you fed was yourself. It's not necessarily the best thing when we increase minimum wage. 13 minutes past the hour. When we return, St. Patrick's Day might fall on March 17th, but some places are celebrating all month long. We'll explain. Meteorologist Mike Favetta returns with your full forecast. Hotter for the Southwest, colder for the Northeast. We'll take calls at 888-658-0234. You're watching Mornings with Ken Rosato live on both the East Coast and the West Coast. Don't go away. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato for your Thursday live in New Jersey and New York. Now we welcome Los Angeles. It is 15 minutes past the hour, and we will take your calls at 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast near you.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
All right, Mike. So we're looking at really hot weather in the Southwest. I mean, like in the 90s, right? And really colder weather in the Northeast, a 40-degree change in temperature for us. But right now, we should mention as we pound our chest that we have 61 degrees in Trenton and 59 degrees in Los Angeles. So it is warmer here than
That's
in
right.
Southern California.
Not going to last for long, Ken, because that cold front is doing its job, living up to its name, especially with possible snow forecast to fall later on this afternoon. This might be a little bit of a surprise snow, especially as the colder air overruns a little bit of that moisture. You can already see it just off to our west. So that colder weather taking over most of the East Coast today as the warm-up continues and really amplifies with that southwesterly breeze and that wind blowing in from the north by tomorrow out west. So plenty of heat records to likely be broken out across the Southwest, but in the Northeast, it stays cold into tomorrow with that below average temperature going right in through our weekend. Looking ahead into the weekend, we start off tomorrow with mostly sunny skies, but transition to clouds by the afternoon and likely have another quick passing shower. Saturday is dry all day, but very windy, gusts upwards of 40 miles per hour with those winds from the west as round 2 of the cold front sweeps through by Saturday. That leads to a very chilly Sunday morning. Potentially could have a few early morning flurries on Sunday, and then as we head into Monday, the rain returns. So even though we've had beautiful sunny weather the last few days and with the warmth, it gets pretty cloudy into next week. And with that, the rain returns for Monday and lingers with those clouds into Tuesday. Back to some sunshine, but not exactly milder weather until we get to Wednesday. Then you have up in the northwest another round of moisture moving in, and that will likely promote all of that wet weather there for at least the foreseeable future as we work through these showers today, Ken, to try and bring back some sunshine tomorrow. We'll tell you all about it, including that big heat out west, coming up with another check of your forecast in a few minutes.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. By the way, a reminder once again, FIFA World Cup coming up just a few months right here in northern New Jersey. And on New Jersey, we'll be broadcasting in its entirety the Flag Cities World Cup press conference at 11 a.m. So this show is aired live from 7 to 9. We rebroadcast 9 to 11. And then at 11, the press conference, which is the Flag Cities World Cup press conference, which is going to talk all things FIFA World Cup. Tell your friends about it. It's going to be right here, only one place on New Jersey, ONNJ.com, and all of our streaming platforms. You're going to want to check that out. We have a temperature 61 degrees in Trenton. It's 59 and a half to be specific right now. Northern New Jersey, 60 in Cape May and 59 in Vineland. On the West Coast, we have 57 degrees now. Los Angeles, 59 in San Diego. And in terms of traffic, let's go to I-280. Eastbound, we have a disabled vehicle. This is at exit 5 in Roseland. Left lane of 3 lanes blocked. You can kind of see the brake checking with the toward the top right of your screen there. That's where that's impacted. And then over on Route 29, we have an issue northbound, debris on Route 29 northbound, north of Byram Kingswood Road in Kingwood. And I was talking with Pam, our director. I said, why is it Kingswood Road and the town is Kingwood? Somebody decided to drop the S, just saying. There's that. And then you have your Hudson River crossings. Lincoln and Holland both reporting 25 to 30 minutes in, and the GWB upper and lower levels slow but moving. So right now your upper level on the right is going to cost you 35 minutes in. It's 35 to 40 for the lower level, which is on the right. To the West Coast we go, and right now we have a traffic collision, unknown injuries. This is in Newhall on the 405 at the Route 118 interchange. You also have a closure of a roadway. This is in Baldwin Park by the Route 71 Street Mission Boulevard off-ramp. And there's an escort for road conditions. So that means there's police patrolling the area. That's on Lakeland Road in LA, 13153 Lakeland Road. 19 minutes past the hour. St. Patrick's Day might fall on March 17th, but some places are celebrating all month long. At the Shannon Rose Irish Pub, a great place that I've been to a number of times, the spirit of Ireland is taking center stage with a month-long celebration of Irish food, drinks, music, and culture throughout the entirety of the month of March. Guests can enjoy classic Irish dishes, specialty drink flights, and live entertainment, all while supporting charitable causes in the community. A good Irish name, Sal Laverty, is general manager of the Shannon Rose Irish Pub in Clifton. By the way, there's also a Ramsey location for those who'd like to get to the Ramsey one. We say good morning to you, Sal.
Good morning, Ken. How are you doing?
So for today, you're Sal Ola. We'll put an O in front, Olaverty, so that makes you a little more Irish. But I can't
I'll
believe
accept
another
it.
year. Exactly, another year is here. We talked last year for this as well, and your place was packed because I have friends who went and just said how phenomenal their time was. But it was jammed. It's a hot place to go. So when did you first come up with the idea of what is in essence St. Patrick's Month?
Um, Irish culture and celebration means so much to us at Shannon Rose, in Ramsey and in Clifton. We decided to do month long because I just feel like we felt the weekend is just not enough. We wanted to really celebrate what it means to kind of come together with the community, family, tradition, dancers, and the weekend is jam packed for sure. But we had so much to do, we wanted to stretch it out for the entire month.
And then the other issue too is when everybody tries to make a reservation on St. Patrick's Day per se, and a lot of people are going to be turned away because they can't get in. But if you want to enjoy the feeling of what it's like to be in Ireland, you could go on one of the adjacent days or weeks. And you guys have a foods and drinks of Ireland menu. One of the really cool things about you guys is you're not just a cabbage and corned beef. I'm sorry, corned beef and hello,
Yeah.
corned beef and cabbage place. You have authentic foods of Ireland. I have friends from County Kerry who have been to your place and said it's like they're eating at home in Ireland.
Oh, I appreciate that. I appreciate your friends visiting. Yeah, we do have time-honored classics, traditional favorites like shepherd's pie and fish and chips, bangers and mash. These are traditional items that we serve year-round. But for the month of March, we try to elevate our Irish fare and do a little bit more. Some more classics. We braise lamb and do that in the form of a shepherd's pie as well. We'll have Guinness beef stew. But then we like to do some of our takes on classics, like we do a shepherd's pie croquette, which is taking a time-honored tradition and doing it a little bit different, a little bit shareable, really nice item as well. But we try to do that traditional Irish fare for the entire month.
And being that we have the FIFA World Cup coming, you should call it a shepherd's pie croqueta, so that we
Uh,
bring in the Latino community too, let everybody enjoy because croquetas are you probably eaten, I'm sure, in Latino restaurants. A lot of different Latino cultures love croquettes. Italians do it too. We all have our own
oh,
version of a
sure.
croquette. And what was it? It was whatever's left over. You can't throw it out and mix it with the mashed potatoes and fry it, and it tastes good. Am I wrong? That's
I mean,
basically what a croquette is.
how good is that? Yeah, absolutely.
Delicious. That's better than the original dish usually. It's amazing. Oh, so now you have a drink menu too featuring whiskey. And Irish whiskey I used to drink scotch until I tried Irish whiskey and I realized how fine Irish whiskeys are. You have Irish whiskey and beer flights. So what makes those offerings unique for the celebration?
You know, Irish whiskey is just a great, like you said, it's a great way to celebrate. It's a great way to come together with people and drink whiskey together. So we decided to put flights together that will take you on a journey, allow you to try different types of Irish whiskeys, and then our staff will be able to walk you through some of the differences. The beer flights, we like to highlight local beers of New Jersey, but we also have a Guinness flight, which will give you different variations of Guinness mixes, like a black and blue, a black velveteen. So there's a lot of options when it comes to drinking Irish in the pub for sure, and those are year round. But again, the month of March, we really kind of full speed ahead and highlight those items.
Sal, when I was a 18-year-old, I guess when 18 was the age for drinking, I remember a friend of mine from high school and we went to Rome and you could not get Guinness stout in the United States. You couldn't get it outside of Ireland. Well, you can get it in Europe, but you couldn't get it here. And I remember in Rome going to a bar and asking for a Guinness. My friend was Irish and he had had it before. I said, let me get a Guinness. And they said, quanto? Questo? And they said, un litro. I said, un litro. What's un litro? Yeah, I'll get that, meaning a liter. And he brings out this
Yeah.
big room temperature, dark brown, muddy looking thing and puts it down. And I'm thinking this is going to be great. And I took a big swig of it and I nearly died. So for those who've never had Guinness, It is not a Pilsner, correct?
It is not. It's an Irish stout. Um, and there is definitely a following. People drink Guinness in the summer, in the winter, year round. We serve it properly. We serve it in the proper glass. We use the correct pour. Um, we actually were awarded when we first opened our Clifton location with pouring from the Guinness team that we pour the perfect Guinness here. It's temperature controlled and it is just fantastic. And right now, actually, to highlight Guinness, we are doing a promotion for the entire month of March called Split the G, which is giving people an opportunity to take their Guinness in one good sip, try to get their Guinness level to split the G on the glass right down the center. And if they do, we ring a bell and their next Guinness is on us.
I love, of course, those are for the folks who have their own designated driver who have come along with them, just
Oh,
to make that clear, especially because you
absolutely.
are along Route 3, right there, Route 3 in Clifton. Beyond the food and the drinks, there's a lot of entertainment planned. So, what kinds of performances will visitors experience?
I mean, you're going to see the best of the best playing at both Shannon Rose locations for the entire month of March, but certainly for the entire weekend. There's going to be traditional Irish playing sing-alongs and classic tunes. There's going to be a little bit of elevated Irish, which is going to have a little bit more gusto, a little bit more dancey, and you'll see that as we go into the evenings. And then some of our great bands that play with us year round are gonna really party and get the people up on their feet and having a great time all weekend long.
And you have families being welcome too. What kind of activities and events do you have for the whole family?
Well, we just celebrated our kids' St. Patrick's Day parties, which were last weekend, both Saturday and Sunday, both massive sellouts and huge success at both locations. And we do that so that it gives people the opportunity to bring their children and their families into the pub without it necessarily being the craziness of St. Patrick's Day. It's a great
I
event
love it.
for us, and we raise money for St. Jude's and Children's Specialized Hospitals through raffles and face painting and things of that nature. We do a leprechaun dance party. It's a really, really great time.
Nice. Sal, what's a website for more info?
TheShannonRose.com. And when you're on the website, you can access either Ramsey or Clifton, whichever you choose, and everything will be listed there. Menus, events, bands, lineup, the whole nine.
I love it. Sal Laverty, General Manager of the Shannon Rose Irish Pub in Clifton. Thank you for joining us this morning. Happy St. Patrick's Month.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Ken.
You bet, my friend. See you again. 28 minutes past the hour. When we come back, career changes can be exciting, but they could also bring a lot of stress. We're going to talk about it. Don't go away. Good morning. It's 30 minutes past the hour, Thursday, March 12th, 2026. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato, live on the East Coast and the West Coast. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast near you.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
Mike, I'm going to keep saying it. It's 57 degrees in Los Angeles, but 61 degrees in Trenton. We got beat for a few hours.
Yeah, you're not going to be saying those temperatures for very long for New Jersey, Ken, because it goes into the freezer by later on tonight into tomorrow. Even as soon as this afternoon, could see some snowflakes mixing in with that rain as the colder air overtakes the warm air. And that's what's happening right here, just off to our west. Excuse me, that's what's arriving throughout the course of the day. So the colder air kind of leading and rushing ahead of that milder weather. Speaking of, with the rain that came through last night, resetting the pollen counts back down to zero. So allergy sufferers get a good little break for the next few days after some lovely warm weather. Now, today we have our rain again in the forecast that works all the way through the Northeast. And with that, the colder weather quickly follows. So it's this blast of bitterly cold air that sets up, thanks to a gusty westerly wind into tomorrow, the jet stream just sitting right up on top of us. And that's going to make for some breezy conditions into the end of the weekend, likely with those gusts up to 40 or 50 miles per hour as soon as this afternoon, and then really taking over into tomorrow and Saturday. So as far as the rest of the day is concerned, it's wet, but we dry things out tomorrow as far as cloud cover, and it looks nice and dry. Speaking of the dry and the heat, it is hot in the desert Southwest, clear sky all across the LA basin, and with that very warm weather that takes over, it will stay hot over the next few days. That high pressure is just off to the north, driving down those northerly winds over the Santa Ana Mountains, creating the Santa Ana winds, making for very hot and dry conditions right throughout the day tomorrow. Record heat out in the desert Southwest before some cooler conditions come in into Saturday and Sunday. So take some time, but still likely see those heat advisories up for the next several days, Ken, as the warm weather persists out west.
Yeah, for those folks that don't realize, they just had the LA Marathon over the weekend on Sunday,
Yeah.
and they actually created a second finish line at 18 miles instead of the 26.2, which of
hmm
course had a lot of people upset. But they said, I mean, understand, they said, look, we don't want anybody dropping dead from it was
You
92
know,
degrees in some
it's
areas.
true. The organizers of the New York City Triathlon do that just about every year
Mhm.
because you have to have the date with the tides in the Hudson, and yet sometimes it just gets too hot and they have to finish the race early. Just say walk to the finish, or cut through the park to get to the finish quicker because it's that hot.
Exactly. So, but the thing is, people finished at the 18-mile mark and still were able to
No,
say they finished
no,
a marathon. And that
yeah.
upsets people who trained for 26.2. I get it, but I understand both sides. Both sides have a valid point. You don't want people, it's a marathon. You don't want people dropping dead. I get that.
hmm
That's the most important part. All you marathoners, that's the most important part. All right, Mike, thank you very much, sir. We will check back, of course. Again, it's 50. Oh, the temperature just dropped. The temperature just dropped. That happens with sunrise sometimes because we get some winds. So winds off the river or the front coming through just drop the Trenton temperature down to 55. That's a big drop. 57 northern New Jersey, 57 in LA. So northern New Jersey still tied with LA. We'll see how that goes through the morning. We'll kind of watch how that changes. A reminder that we're going to air the entirety of the Flag Cities World Cup press conference today at 11 a.m. right here at ONNJ. This will talk about the kickoff and everything going on in northern New Jersey with all the officials and all the restaurants and everything connected to soccer. So that's going to be at 11 a.m. right here. The only channel in the Northeast covering this is ONNJ.com. ONNJ, you're going to want to watch it. Tell your friends about it too. Everybody connected with FIFA, soccer, you're going to want to watch it. 11 a.m. today, ONNJ. All right, in terms of traffic right now, really fast, we only have one incident to report. 280 eastbound at exit 5 in Roseland. We have a disabled vehicle, and that's only causing, you see the brake checking toward the upper right. That's causing a little bit of a slowdown, not a major problem. The Hudson River crossings right now, Holland is 20 to 25 minutes. Lincoln is 25 to 30. GWB upper and lower levels, Kind of slow, but moving. You'll see. That's on the right side is the upper, lower level is on the left, and we're talking about a 35 to 40 minute crossover time getting into Manhattan. Only thing to report right now in Los Angeles is a traffic hazard in central LA. That's at the 110 and Slauson Avenue, of course. It's only 4:35 in the morning there. At 7:35 Eastern Time, joining us now to talk about the psychology of navigating career transitions is Amy Yassin, who is a licensed mental health coach with McNulty Counseling and Wellness. And we say good morning to you, Amy.
Hello, good morning.
Great to have you on. And I notice that whenever there's a major change in somebody's life, moving, divorce, death, change of job, there is a powerful trigger for anxiety. Why is that?
Absolutely. So any change is inherently stressful. Um, I think it's important to recognize that any emotion exists to give us information about a situation. So stress exists to say, hey, heads up, pay attention, something's happening, be on alert. It's not bad. It's completely normal and appropriate.
So that's sort of a protection, if you will, because I guess humans like repetitive things, just like animals, right? We train our animal.
Yes.
If you have to go to the bathroom, you go here, then you come back, et cetera. And humans like that same thing. It's just you get ingrained in something. All of a sudden that changes. So I guess that's your body's way or your brain's way of saying, as you said, heads up, things are different. And for your own safety, protection, and moving forward, you have to change. Is that kind of it?
Absolutely. Yes. So we love predictability. We love structure. The brain's job is designed to keep us safe. So any change is perceived as a threat. The brain doesn't know the difference between an actual threat and a perceived threat. So it starts reacting as if we're in a threatening, dangerous situation. So it's
Gotcha. And
really important to remind yourself, I'm safe. This is not a threat. This isn't that. I'm safe right now.
yeah, I mean, I know when I've had job changes, you immediately think 20 steps forward to starvation and
Yes.
homelessness instead of I just
Right,
will get another
right.
job, you know? But
So,
that's really
and
it,
one
right?
of
We
the
go to
things,
the end.
yes. And so here's the thing though, if we're going to entertain worst case scenario, we also have to entertain best case scenario. What if it works
Uh,
out? We're only
that's
looking at
exciting.
one potential outcome. So if we're going to go there, we have to go here
That's I've never thought of it from that perspective. That's brilliant. That's why you do what you do.
too.
So,
That's why I
and
do what I do.
so well. What why is it that work becomes such a big part of how we define ourselves? I mean, I know that look, I was a
Yes.
TV news anchor at ABC for 20 plus years in New York City, and I must have said to a million people as I shook hands, yeah, I'm Ken Rosato, I'm a news anchor for blah 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 blah. It's ingrained in the head, but why do we
Yes.
do that?
So think of all of the hats that we wear, right? We wear our friend hat, we wear our spouse hat, we wear our parent hat, we wear our worker hat. The worker hat has the most, how do I say it? Important, I guess, survival, right? That's where we make our money. That's how we pay the bills. That's how we support our children. That's how we do things with friends, right? And so it's so much of our identity because we have to have that identity to wear our other hats.
That makes sense. That sure does
Yes.
make sense. So what is a healthy way then to manage feelings of failure? If we feel like it's all my fault, instead of
Mm.
dwelling on the negative, what should we be doing during transitions?
So I think it's important to recognize. So first of all, the all or nothing thinking is also known as black and white thinking, and that looks like if I don't succeed with this, I'm a failure. If I get into one fight with my friend, our friendship is doomed. So the first step is just noticing, oh, I'm starting to do that and recognize this does not mean that. We are allowed to make mistakes. We're allowed to transition. It's okay for it to be difficult. Um, I think the next thing is to recognize what are we catastrophizing? What is the worst case scenario? I like to call that the thought cascade. So, for instance, if my boss were to say, hey, call me after this session, my mind is going to go to, I'm homeless on the street because I'm about to get fired, right? Right. And then we have to say, okay, well, what's the likelihood of that happening? One. And if that does happen, yeah, it would be terrible. Let's not minimize that. Um, but it's also overcomable. We have a 100% success rate. We have successfully navigated any challenge. It might not have been pretty, so we can get through it.
That's great though, and we've all at some point had the, "Can you call me after the show? Can you talk to me?"
Yeah,
I've had
right, right.
even when I
Let's
mean the
talk about
people.
this.
Yes, whenever I see like if it's more than one manager on the email, I'm like, "What is this?
Oh
Why? Why
no.
is that?" That's
Right, right.
awful. Oh God. I well, just
Yep.
to let you know, I had not too long ago, I had a please join me in the sixth floor, whatever conference room at 10 a.m., if you will. And I walked into the conference room is this giant 40-foot round table. And the person who was talking to me was at that end of the table. And I was at this end, and they
Uh-huh.
put a box of tissues. They had a box. I'm like, I
Not the
literally,
tissues.
because I'd been there before. So I looked at the person who was about half my age and I laughed and I said, I won't be needing these. And I shoved them across. And she looked at me kind of shocked. I said, look, I could be your grandfather. I've done this before. What do you got to tell me? And that's literally, she was got taken aback. I think I took her off her. I pulled the carpet out from under her because she didn't expect that reaction. So
Uh-huh.
many, you talked about this, many people falling into the all or nothing thinking.
Yes.
So how can we recognize that we're doing it at the moment that we're doing it?
Yeah, so it's a skill, and like any skill, it takes practice, right? So if I want to get better at playing basketball, I have to practice playing basketball. I can't wait until game time to expect to be able to do layups, right? So we have to take time to just notice our thoughts a couple times a day. What am I thinking? What kind of assumptions am I making? I like the phrase, what's the story I'm telling myself? If we assign it to something we're already doing, right? So if I eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, I'm going to take a couple minutes and just notice what are the stories happening right now. And then that helps us get used to noticing our thoughts. The more we do that, then we're able to do it in real time, like our basketball skills that we're working on.
Amen. All right. So we are down at the end of the interview. So
Yes.
what's a website for people to get more information and to contact someone like you?
Yes, so we can be found at mcnultycounseling.com, and we have plenty of therapists, all different walks of life and specialties.
Awesome. I'm taking note of that. And I'm not kidding when I say it. Amy Yasin,
I love it.
licensed mental health coach with McNulty Counseling and Wellness. Thank you for coming on this morning. We all could use
Thank
somebody to
you.
talk to. I have many times in the past, and it helps a lot. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too. 43 minutes past the hour. The parents of a child who was shot by a trans attacker suing ChatGPT. We're going to talk about it. We're coming right back. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato. 45 minutes past the hour. We're going to take your calls at 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast for your city.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
All right, Mike. So we already see the cold front starting to come through because the temperature in Trenton, which was 61 degrees at the beginning of this broadcast 45 minutes ago, has now dropped to 55. That's fast.
Oh, it's going to get colder. Yeah, and it might get cold enough to snow in certain parts of New Jersey this afternoon as that snow mixes in with the rain with that cold front. So all of the Northeast dealing with that wet weather today. However, by tomorrow and especially Saturday, we see a clearing, much chillier into this weekend, but we're dry at least for the first half of the weekend, even through Sunday, just clouds. Monday is our next opportunity for some of that wet weather as another front works its way through. And then following that, it just stays really chilly going into next week. You can almost see it in the clouds, that big dip in the jet stream, keeping all of that cool air pouring on down across the Northeast into the next few days. So even with the future cast, as that cold weather mixes in with the rain, likely see a few snowflakes at times. All of this wraps up by about 8 or 9 o'clock tonight. So it's between now and the evening commute that we'll have those steady showers with some snow showers at times. Into tomorrow, it's dry to start, but there's likely another round of wet weather to finish the day. And then Saturday is dry all day. Beautiful high pressure parks itself over the Northeast, brings back nice clear conditions to start the day on Saturday. But then by Sunday morning, you see some flurries work their way through northern New Jersey as a weak front pushes through. That leads to a cloudy day all day on Sunday, even though it will be slightly milder in the mid 50s. Plan on cool conditions right through the end of the month with all of the heat locked out for most of the west. So it's going to stay very warm and toasty out west. Also dry, as our weather for the Northeast predominantly is cooler than average and wetter than average, even as most of the Southeast is still in a drought. New Jersey exiting its drought. We'll have the newest information coming up in about an hour when the new drought monitor is released, Ken, in about 45 minutes. That's coming up in our next weather segment.
Well, let's hope with all the snow and the rain, and now that the snow has melted down from some of the mountains, that we're going to see that things are better. But that's why we never say, "Oh, I wish this rain would go away." We need it. We need it always. That's what we drink and shower with. We want to take our little boats out on our little lakes. You got to have rain for it. That's Mother Nature taking care of us. Thank you, Mike. We appreciate you, sir, as always. It is now 7:47 East Coast, 4:47 West Coast. In terms of temperatures, we have a temp again, East Coast. Trenton, New Jersey, 55 degrees, 58 degrees, northern New Jersey, Los Angeles, 57. So we're all in that same vicinity of temperatures. And we do, oh, you do have it. Thank you, Pam. Pam, our director, telling us something good. Let's take a look. First, let me tell them, folks, we have an operational activity and debris issue. That's the way they're reporting it. It's Garden State Parkway southbound, way down south. This is by exit 13, Avalon Boulevard, Middle Township, in that area. Apparently, traffic is slowing down, but moving. State police have it. And that's all the way down again, exit 13 on the Garden State. Now, we have a debris spill for a little further north, not very much further north, though, and that is on Byram Kingswood Road, Route 29 in Kingwood Township. The right lane and right shoulder are closed. The Hudson River crossings right now, Holland Tunnel is talking 25 to 30 in, Lincoln is 35 to 40. GWB upper and lower levels. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Pam, for that. That's the 495 going into the Lincoln Tunnel right now. The middle lanes, you're looking at the taillights. Those middle lanes right now, that's going to give you about a 15 to 20 mile an hour speed. So that's going to cost you from there about 35 minutes into Manhattan. As you come around the helix, you can see the beginning of the skyline there in the upper right side. Now, we go to the GWB upper and lower levels. Have been extraordinarily slow today since early this morning. Upper level on the right, lower on the left. It's going to cost you about 40 to 45 minutes in. On the West Coast, the only thing we have to report right now is a collision in East LA on the 10 at Atlantic Boulevard off-ramp, and that's causing some delays through there at 4:49 West Coast time. Well, the parents of a child who was left brain damaged after being shot by a trans attacker at a Canada school are suing ChatGPT because they say OpenAI helped the attacker plan the shooting that resulted in 8 deaths and nearly 30 injuries. Several employees allegedly claim they wanted to report the shooter to police. That is employees of ChatGPT wanted to call police. But they say the company ordered them not to. News Nation's Elizabeth Pran is a journalist, a podcaster, a mom and a wife. She's done it all, and she hosts the Saving America podcast. She joins us now live. Good morning, my friend.
Not gracefully, I'll mention, Ken, but this story is gut-wrenching. Because, first of all, this is the worst mass shooting that we've seen in Canada since 2020, right? This 18-year-old shooting at members of her family, then going to the school, several children, as you mentioned, almost 30 injured in total, and 8 died. The issue is that the investigation found that this 18-year-old was having fairly intimate conversations with this, as you mentioned, a chatbot, ChatGPT, OpenAI. And there was a lot of references to violence, right? If you go through some of the documents in this investigation and reporting that we've seen over the past month. The issue is whether or not Canadian authorities are going to say, here is our opportunity to make a precedent, to make a statement. Because if you look at it, and obviously we're the United States, and we can talk about the nuances here, but why, if you're not having intimate conversations with someone who's emulating a human, are you not held to those standards? If you go to a therapist or a psychiatrist and you make threats of violence to yourself or others, we know this from a 1976 ruling that there is a duty for that person to report it to authorities to prevent violence. And again, I'm not a lawyer, so you can have a lawyer say, nope, that's not going to work here. They shut the relationship down, the conversation down. This 18-year-old was banned. What harm would it do if you're innocent until proven guilty to at least have this on the radar of authorities? What do you think, Ken? I mean, am I overstepping here? I mean, you could prevent violence, right?
100%. I think I understand the big brother issue. I get that.
Right.
But you were talking about teenagers. And in this case, this is a teenager who clearly has psychological challenges. Wherever you stand on the LGBT spectrum and the issues of it, we know for a fact that people who are trans and who have gender dysmorphia and gender dysphoria, we know that they have problems identifying who they are to begin with. So there are psychological issues. And we also know that many have suicidal thoughts. That's not me saying it. That's thousands of studies that have been done for decades on people who identify themselves as being a different gender. So to begin with, we're dealing with somebody who's mentally a little unstable. Now, couple that with somebody who might be their only friend, I put in air quotes, and that is ChatGPT or OpenAI, that's pushing them to do something. Well, that's frightening. And if this person can be pushed to do that, how many other people who are on the brink of wanting to say hurt a public official might be led by their ChatGPT and OpenAI as well to do the same?
Well, and there's no boundaries, right? And we hear this because we're talking to lawmakers across the United States as we head into the midterms. And a lot of them grapple with there's really no policies with these emerging technologies. So if you and I call the DMV, we're noted that this line is being recorded constantly. Why don't we even have prompts? You're not speaking to a real life individual, either if it's a virtual phone conversation or a chat. Why not every 90 seconds, 3 minutes, remind this 18-year-old whose frontal lobe is not fully developed? So they're in the body of an adult, but they're in no way, shape, or form able to make adult decisions. Why are we treating young teens like adults? Why not a prompt to remind that individual? And also, you can have the defense here, protect these companies who you and I obviously want to see taking responsibility. You are not speaking to a real life adult. This is a reminder. This is a chatbot. You and I have, when we call any line, call Delta Airlines. This line is being recorded. That way you know that why aren't we having any type of responsibility? These companies, it is the Wild West. And you have young children who have way more understanding than you and I do. If I were to go on ChatGPT, I'm trying to figure out how to spell and put it, because you and I are used to books. We're used to doing the research. We're used to reading the news articles. And now these children are getting access to technologies that they understand better than I do. But they have these young brains and they're making real life decisions in what they think is a virtual world. Maybe this 18-year-old was in a virtual world when she went in and took all these lives, not really fully understanding this is a fatal decision. You are taking the lives. These people are no longer with us. And now there's 8 who are no longer with us.
Elizabeth, if you could be shadow banned or banned from, say, YouTube or Facebook because you use the word in talking about women who are attacked, the R word. Okay, I'm not even going to say it because I don't want us to get banned. We're on 20 platforms. If computers could find words, hear words that I say, then why can't ChatGPT and OpenAI ban the use of words like shoot or KILL or anything like that? Why can't that be done? Clearly it can. And the people who program this can program the engine not to urge people to injure anyone else. That is a clear oversight on their part. They did not do that. And so that's why again, I'm not a lawyer either. My gut is telling me, though, that there's going to be some culpability on the part of the company here, because clearly, if all you have to do is go back and look at what the OpenAI was telling this kid to do.
Well, and how is that any different? I covered a story. It was devastating. You remember out of Winder, Georgia, there was a 14-year-old boy who was given a weapon by his father for Christmas. Then he ended up taking a number of lives at a high school. And the father is being held responsible. He's facing charges. He's being convicted. So you are going to see this be a precedent. Whether or not it happens in again, I'm not a lawyer, and I'm also not hugely privy to Canadian laws, but there is an opportunity here for you to set a precedent. If it's not going to be in policy, then do it in the judicial system, right? Show people that there is going to be parameters. Someone will be held responsible. And also, like you mentioned, it's not necessarily saving other people's lives. If there's a young individual who is struggling with mental issues, they could be taking their own life. So where's the empathy there, right? I mean, think about the ones who are struggling as well.
No, you nailed it. And now you have a kid here, 12 years old, Maya Gabala, shot 3 times for doing what? Going to school. Going to school, doing exactly what a good kid should do, going to school to study, and now she is permanently brain damaged and permanently disfigured for doing nothing more than being a good kid and doing what she's supposed to do. It's not fair, it's not right, and it's disgusting, and there should be something to deal with this. Let's change gears, if we will, to your Raising America podcast. What do we have on this week, Elizabeth?
Boy, we are doing all midterms, and we covered the Georgia 14th district. And I know folks at home are sort of rolling their eyes. Maybe they're in California or they're in New Jersey with you. But this is a big deal. This was a seat vacated by Marjorie Taylor Greene. We saw a Democrat, his name is Sean Harris. He forced it into a runoff with Clay Fuller, who's been endorsed by President Trump. President Trump was here in the 14th district not long ago. Why is this a big deal? The midterms might be kind of spicy. All right, I'm just going to throw this out there. There's always low turnout when it comes to an off election year, like a presidential election year. But if you look at the special election, there are some, not a 5-alarm fire here, but Republicans need to watch out. It might be a closer fight. It might be a bigger fight in some of these smaller districts. But Ken, you and I know this. Policy is made in the midterms, right? People only pay attention to presidential election. You need to pay attention to midterms. So we're going to try to make it sexy on Raising America and try to make it entertaining to give you that bite-sized news pieces. So follow us.
Can't wait. Can't wait to check it out. You can see it on YouTube. So be sure to check out the Saving America podcast. Again, find it on YouTube. Journalist and podcaster, News Nation's Elizabeth Pran. Thanks for coming on this morning. We'll see you again next week, Elizabeth. Thank you. 58 minutes past the hour. For those on the West Coast, you're watching on LACA. Stay tuned for your local news. If you're watching ONNJ, we'll be back live with New Jersey news, opinion, weather, and traffic. Thanks for watching Mornings with Ken Rosato. Good morning. It's 8:01, Thursday, March 12th, 2026. Welcome to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. We'll take calls at 888-658-0234. Rain mixing with snow this afternoon, possible. It'll be windy and blustery. The morning high with the upper 50s, well, that's gone. Basically, it's already gone. It's been plummeting. So it started at 61 degrees actually in Trenton. It's been falling. That's already down to 55 in Trenton. I'm giving you too many details. Somebody who has to give you the right details, meteorologist Mike Favetta with a check of the Garden State forecast.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
Mike, at 6 a.m., I want to bring out the garbage. It's that day for us.
Yeah,
And as I went out, I was like, this isn't too bad. I know we had heavy rain. I was like, it doesn't
right.
feel that bad, just a little damp. And just looking, the temperature's fallen 6 degrees in the last 2
Uh-huh.
hours.
It's true, and yet here we go. The temperature dropping already with that shade of blue there in the northwestern part of the state, separating Sussex and Morristown by about 15 degrees already as that front slides through. So with it, we have all of the warm air locked down to the south, but that cold front doing its job and will slide in through the course of the day today. And with that, the wind chill dropping throughout the morning feels like 41 as opposed to the 60 over in Mount Holly. So a 20-degree spread of how it feels, and 16 degrees warmer than this time yesterday in Morristown. That is very warm, but already seeing that temperature drop to be where it was yesterday in Sussex. So the winds take over today, gusting at times up to 40 miles per hour, even into tomorrow. After the heavy rain that came through last night, we get another round of rain this morning, that already entering kind of widespread across northern New Jersey in the last hour, and that kind of giving us our wet day today. So plan on the rain if you're heading out to any of the Audio Nova Clinic locations. Might even have a snowflake mixed in there in northern New Jersey, even down the shore as temperatures drop. These are our daytime highs, which already happened. So we'll see these temperatures much cooler through the rest of the day, especially for you in Toms River, where the 60, that's where you are now. By this afternoon, we'll probably be feeling like the 40s. In through the next few hours, with that colder air moving in, that's where we could see some mixing, even right down toward the coast with the snow and rain. And as temperatures go, it drops quickly into the 30s by this evening. Look at that, by 6 o'clock, we're already back in the 30s, down into the 20s overnight. Cold tomorrow with a little bit of a southerly breeze, but that only warms us back into the 40s. So yeah, March is going to feel more like March into tomorrow, especially with the colder air sticking around for Saturday and Sunday. And then we have to wait till Monday for our next chance for some wet weather. So it stays a little wet around here, especially today. Tomorrow's dry, so is Saturday, but I think the rain returns later Sunday night as temperatures are mighty chilly, Ken, going into the weekend.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. And again, just a reminder that starting at 11 a.m. here at On New Jersey, we're going to hold a news conference for the FIFA World Cup. It's the Flag Cities news conference. It happened yesterday, but I know that you're going to want to watch, Mike, because you're going to be doing a lot of forecasting when it comes to the FIFA World Cup and all the events happening. And on New Jersey, we are going to be everywhere. What do they say, like white on rice? When it comes to all things World Cup. We have so many events planned and so many things to cover. So we're already tired thinking about it, but tired in a good and exciting way. So again, that news conference is going to be aired in its entirety. It was done yesterday, but it's very important. If you're a small business in New Jersey, you're going to want to take note, even just somebody who lives here, and where the traffic's going to be. So it's 11 a.m., ONNJ.com, the only place to see it. Make sure you tell everybody who's interested in FIFA World Cup action in the least to tune in starting then. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you. And I know how busy you're going to be. It's like running a marathon for a meteorologist, but Mike can do it better than anybody. So now the temperature has dropped again, 54 degrees in Trenton. It is 55 degrees northern New Jersey. It's been dropping from 61. It's been coming down in the last hour, hour and a half, and it's going to keep dropping, as Mike said, all the way down to the 40s and maybe upper 30s with some snow by later today. In terms of traffic, we have a debris spill and really not much traffic at all. I think a lot of people, Pam and I, our director, we're talking about this. I think a lot of people are out of town for spring break because the only thing we really have is a debris spill, and we don't even have a camera shot for you, but it's on Route 29 northbound, north of Byram Kingswood Road in Kingwood Township. Right lane and right shoulder are closed. That's it. In terms of, let's see, your approaches to the Hudson River, the Holland Tunnel is about a 25-minute crossover time. The Lincoln Tunnel, we'll look at the 495 approach to the Lincoln right now. You'll see Oh, we don't have it. Okay. Well, the 495 approach, not too bad, actually. Lincoln Tunnel is only going to cost you 30 minutes in. GWB upper and lower level is about 40 minutes in. Upper level on the right, lower on the left. You could see a little bit of rain again. So that's going to be happening on and off through the day. Clouds, showers, maybe a little snow mixing in later on. Again, 40 minutes in by the GWB. It is 8:06 right now, and ABC News is reporting that the FBI warned California that Iran could launch a drone attack on the West Coast. State and federal authorities are on top of it. Meantime, the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad is on alert after threats of possible attacks by Iran. 3 ships off of Iran's coast in the Strait of Hormuz have been struck by projectiles. Shipping traffic through the strait has ground to a near standstill since the U.S. and Israel launched airstrikes on Iran back on February 28th. President Trump says in spite of this, the U.S. and Israel have accomplished way more than expected by this point.
I mean, for them it's a war. For us, it's turned out to be easier than we thought. But think of it, they had thousands of missiles, 7,000, 8,000 missiles. We got many of them before they got to launch. They have drones all over the place. We got many now. We're knocking out the drone plants, as you know, going fast. They started talking about mines, so we hit 28 mine ships as of this moment, 28. Like using the same weapon, the exact same weapon that we use against the drug dealers.
U.S. forces sank several Iranian ships on Tuesday, including 16 of the mine layers the president was referring to. Officials announced Goya presents Flag City's 2026 fan festivals yesterday. The events celebrate the 2026 FIFA World Cup coming to North Jersey. Festivals will take place before matches at MetLife Stadium. Fans can enjoy lots of music, food, games, and soccer fun. Events will pop up across Jersey City, Newark, East Rutherford, and nearby towns. Organizers promise a colorful global celebration for every soccer fan. Take a look at some of the highlights from yesterday.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are proud to be the host county here for the World Cup. We know that this will shine a bright light on who we are, what we represent, and we will deliver a wonderful, wonderful event to all the people of the world, and they will learn and know about who and what we are as a county, as a region, and as a state.
And what was so exciting about Flag Cities for us is we can actually put on, I think, the first event, June 12th, a celebration right in the heart of downtown Jersey City, right on our streets, bring in the LED boards, bring in the small businesses, create the extraordinary excitement of the World Cup in the heart of Jersey City.
For many months and probably a couple of years now, we have been talking about how will we leverage and maximize the fact that the greatest game on the planet, the greatest sporting event on the planet is coming to our backyard for 8 games. And I also said that we made some mistakes when Super Bowl was in town a bunch of years ago, and that we wouldn't make those mistakes again. And those mistakes are that we would activate our communities to make sure, and these are the goals of Flag City, we would activate our communities in ways to make sure small businesses, local residents, and the region at large had the ability and the opportunity to have some pride in the fact that these games are in our backyard, and to taste and touch and feel a little bit of the ethnic diversity that the World Cup will bring with international teams and countries coming and visiting us. And we would do it better. And then on July 20th, we'd be able to look back and say, we took some opportunities, maybe even took some chances. We collaborated with a whole bunch of people to make sure that these local fan activations worked.
And more information can be found at flagcities.com. The average gas price in New Jersey has risen to $3.49 a gallon, according to AAA. Prices increased 5 cents overnight and 41 cents in the past week. Some areas are cheaper, including Bergen and Passaic counties, while Ocean County has the highest prices. It seems the further that the trucks have to travel, the higher the price. Despite the spike, New Jersey's average price remains below the U.S. average of $3.58, with global tensions raising oil costs. Wayne Township is warning residents about a phishing scam targeting New Jersey. Scam texts impersonate courts, claiming that you have an unpaid traffic fine, and they threaten you. Messages include fraudulent payment links resembling official court websites. Do not click on any link you are texted or emailed for that matter. If you are curious, just ignore the text, go directly to the website itself. So if they say they're from the New Jersey courts, you can go to njcourts.gov when you put that into your browser. And this way, you know you're going to the right domain as opposed to clicking on something that might be fake and then you get hacked. Grubhub and Dexa are launching New Jersey's first commercial drone food delivery program. How cool is this? The 3-month test program begins March 18th at Wonders Restaurant, Greenbrook location. Customers within a 2.5-mile radius can opt for drone delivery through the Grubhub app. Dexa's FAA certified drones promise efficient meal delivery, and Grubhub has been focusing on faster, more reliable delivery solutions. Interesting. And in sad news, a body was found Tuesday night outside a South Jersey motel. Police say the individual was found near the Budget Inn Motel on Route 130 North in Burlington Township. Police have not yet released a cause of death, and there's no word on the deceased's name, but their investigation continues. A federal judge has ruled that 3 prosecutors in New Jersey's U.S. Attorney's Office were appointed illegally. The acting U.S. attorney was disqualified for serving too long without Senate approval, and the administration's replacement team of 3 lawyers was also deemed unlawful. The judge criticized the Justice Department for trying to bypass the appointment process, warning that continued violations could lead to dismissing indictments. Constitutional scholar Kim Wheel says that U.S. attorneys must be appointed under the Constitution's appointments clause with Senate confirmation required. She said improperly appointed prosecutors could invalidate past prosecutions and could disrupt the justice system. It is now 54 degrees at 8:13. When we return, a group of New Jersey high school students working to help communities prevent wildfires. We're coming back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato at 8:15. We'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. Rain now mixing with snow this afternoon. It'll be windy and blustery. Morning highs in the upper 50s are already falling to near 40. Right to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
So, Mike, I'm sure a lot of people are going to say, well, if the temperatures are going to drop to near 40, then why are we talking snow? But so we're not saying snow is going to stick necessarily, but we're saying that snow because the upper air is colder, right?
Yeah, much colder. So we'll likely see a little bit of maybe some uh, I don't want to say an accumulation or maybe a coating on the car tops, but colder surfaces, areas that typically would get colder faster, elevated subway or platforms or train platforms, certainly possible because they're cooled from all sides. Those areas could see a little bit of a light icy coating by the end of the day because even though visibility is starting to improve, the rain is moving in quickly. And this is the cooling rain that leads to what's known as evaporative cooling, which helps to cool the atmosphere from the top down. And that would provide the snow for this afternoon, mixing with the rain. The temperatures you see here, that already happened. We're already falling through the lower 50s, even into the upper 40s right now, as that colder weather works in, thanks to a northwesterly breeze. So yes, at times later today, snow could be mixing with the rain, leaving a light, icy, crusty coating on the car tops by the end of the day. At worst, on the ground, no accumulation. And then going into tomorrow with those winds sticking around even through Saturday and Sunday, quite breezy, the winds switch direction and blow in from the north and west, and that brings back the wind chill in the 20s and 30s. Look at that shade of turquoise, bringing that wind chill back down into feeling like wintertime temperatures, teens even, likely for Saturday morning, even 30s right down toward the coast, and then still kind of breezy on Sunday, but chilly all throughout the weekend before we return to some wetter weather come Monday and Tuesday. So there are the storms that came through last night, some damaging winds in southern New Jersey up to 60 miles per hour, all with this front that's already starting to cool things off to our west. You can even see right there some of that mixing occurring with the shade of blue that pops up right there. And that's what's headed in our direction with that colder weather taking over the front and providing that snow mixing in. The bigger picture showing that rain ending by this evening, clearing us out tonight, bringing back a dry breeze to start the day tomorrow. Maybe a few sprinkles tomorrow afternoon, but beyond that, Saturday is dry, just cold, and it stays chilly even into Monday and Tuesday with another round of rain. Have to wait for the sun to return by Wednesday. Do we warm up? No, it stays cold all throughout next week with those temperatures basically where they should be in the 30s and 40s even through the afternoon. So the weekend, while it's dry on Saturday and sunny, turns chilly again by Sunday with the clouds. We've got the 7-day forecast, Ken, coming up in a few minutes.
All right, Mike. And once again, we just continue to watch the temperature drop another degree. So it started at 61 in Trenton. It's down to 54, just creeping. Do we have a bet? You want to, like a drinking game? We'll do a coffee drinking game. Will it drop to 61? I'm sorry, 51 degrees before the end of the broadcast? That's the
It
question.
might. It might.
All right. So we'll see. I got you. Thank you. Oh, Pam, our director who likes the cold, she's saying she's rooting for 49. Pam, not so fast. You're not in this game, Pam. I'm sorry. Appreciate it though. All right, Mike, we'll check back here. It is, as we said, 54 degrees in Trenton. It's 53 degrees now, northern New Jersey. So northern was actually warmer than Trenton, and now it's colder. It's 53 in northern New Jersey. We have 54 degrees in Cape May and 50 degrees in Vineland. 8:19 is our time. In terms of traffic, let's go to the Garden State Parkway. Right now, we have a disabled vehicle on the GSP northbound. This is north of exit 142, I-78 in Irvington. The left lane is blocked, and you can see what it's causing, the up and down, left to right. If you look at the lower left to the upper right of your screen, you can see the traffic flow right there. And that is, again, exit 142, I-78 Irvington. The left lane is blocked. That's about the only thing to report right now in the Garden State, except to let you know that roadways are damp. So give yourselves a little extra travel time. Debris spill, it's been worked on now much of the morning. It's on Route 29 northbound, north of Byram, Kingswood Road in Kingwood Township. The right lane and right shoulder are closed, and that is being worked on right now. The only other issues are the Hudson River crossings. The Holland Tunnel now reporting 25 to 30 minutes in. Lincoln is 35 to 40. GWB upper and lower levels pretty heavy into Manhattan. Upper level on the right, it's going to cost you about 40 minutes. Lower level on the left is about 45. 8:20 is our time, and wildfires might be something that many people associate with the West Coast. But they're a growing concern as well here in the Garden State. We have all the Pine Barrens, for instance. A group of New Jersey high school students is working to help communities stay prepared through their nonprofit Next Gen STEM. They've launched a wildfire prevention and preparedness project as part of the Skills USA Community Service Competition. Jashith Gorapati and Rohan Patel are high school students from Somerset County who are leading the charge. We say good morning.
Morning, Ken. How are you doing?
Great. Good to have you guys on. Well, tell us, Rohan, we'll start with you first. Tell us about the Next Gen STEM and how the Wildfire Prevention Project first got started.
Okay, so Next Gen STEM is a nonprofit that me and Josh had founded earlier in our freshman year of high school. So the general thing that we're trying to get across with Next Gen STEM is to solve problems using education. So basically, we run internationally. We've done projects all across Africa, such as Senegal and Ivory Coast. For our Senegal project, we talked to the founder of a certain nonprofit that works over there, and we saw that many hospitals over there have a lack of electricity, and electricity goes in and out. And the problem with that is that many of the technicians are certified in the larger um, capital city and not in the rural areas. So we taught a lot of the students in the villages how to fix electrical circuits, allowing them to fix the circuits in their hospital. So we use science to help teach students to solve problems in their own community. And about our wildfire prevention project, like you said, we saw New Jersey has a growing concern over wildfires, and the problem behind that is a lack of education for New Jersey issued fire restrictions. So these restrictions are issued by the state to help prevent wildfires, but they're buried in terminology such as KBDI index and buildup that the normal citizen cannot understand. So we want to make sure that people across New Jersey are informed of wildfire restrictions.
So we'll go over to Josh's now. What got you both involved and interested specifically in wildfires? Why that of all things did that pique your interest?
Right. So I've been hearing about the whole LA wildfire thing, and around March of last year, I live in Greenbrook, so there was a small brush fire near my house, and I was really surprised because I was like, and I've only heard of these fires happening in Los Angeles, not in like my own backyard, and my community was getting surrounded by these firefighters preparing for something that might happen. I realized this wasn't something that was happening all the way there, but something that happening really close to us. So, I got Rohan together because this is kind of like the thing we do. We try to find a problem we can solve that's rooted in an education issue. So then I reached out to him and then we started there and got our friends together.
You guys go to high school together?
Yes.
That's cool. That's good. And the amazing thing, I'm so glad you're touching on this because as an older person, we know that we have like the Pine Barrens. We understand the geography better. When you're younger and you're learning about the world and even just where you live, at first you're kind of focused on home, school, possible job. That's it. That's your life. So to understand that no, this is part of the reality. You're becoming adults, and this is great that this education is going to. I'm sure your friends learning about it now, and then to others who may not realize. We take it for granted here in New Jersey. We could pick up the phone and call an electrician. As you mentioned in Africa, they can't do that in many cases. The big cities, yes, but the small rural areas, they sure can't. So it's so great that you guys are reaching out like this to cultures and areas where they may have this issue even more. Now, you've already distributed more than 800 wildfire emergency kits. So what's included in the kits and how do they help people stay safe?
Okay, so
Rohan, you got it.
yes. So in the wildfire kits, there's a KN95 mask. There's also a safety whistle and burn gel. The KN95 mask, well, first of all, these kits are designed for you to just keep next to your bed, maybe in a drawer, so there's easy access to it in case a wildfire was to arise. So the KN95 mask will prevent less pollutants from being breathed in. And then the safety whistle is about 110 decibels, allowing a lot of first responders to hear you in case you're buried in rubble.
That's awesome. And a lot of people don't realize the majority of people who die because of a fire don't burn up. They die because of breathing, right? So that KN95, if you're trapped inside and there's smoke pouring in through your air conditioning system or just because it's in your house, you need that KN95 or else you're not going to be able to get out. You won't be able, you'll die from not being able to breathe before you die from the fire, which is just a horrible tragedy. And then of course, if a firefighter sees a bunch of rubble, the only way they'll know you're alive is if you have something like that. So that's just simple and brilliant. You guys have been visiting libraries and community spaces to talk with residents. So Joshi, what kinds of conversations are you having with people about wildfire safety?
So we've gone around to mostly towns in Passaic County and also Somerset County. So just areas that are in a high risk of wildfires. And a lot of the people that come there are usually older. And sometimes we'll even have people who don't speak English. So we'll bring someone who can talk in Spanish, one of our friends, and we'll just have conversations with them about, what they know about the whole wildfires in New Jersey. And it surprises us that a lot of people haven't really heard of wildfires happening in New Jersey, or they don't assume it's a big problem. But then once you like go up online and like look at it, we've have a lot per year. So we kind of talked to them about how, this is actually a really big issue in our community. And a lot of people, they start to understand that they probably need to take action too. Like, for example, like dry vegetation in their backyard. So like very dry stuff that easily picks up fire. So I feel like it really starts there, and a lot of people don't know about the restrictions. And it's mostly we see it on the highway signs, but sometimes that's really not enough. So we believe that the best way was to just talk to people and get them to know that there's a lot of restrictions that go along with these wildfires.
A lot of people don't realize in the state of New Jersey, 1/4 of the entire state is pine barrens. And pine trees are the oil in pine. We have pine tar and whatnot. The oil in pine is like gasoline. You get a flicker of a spark on that, it goes up like that. I've actually done stories as a reporter, young reporter in Pine Barren at wildfires, and I had a spark hit a tree 200 feet behind me, and when it went up, it literally burned the hair off the back of my head from 200 feet. That's how hot it was. So wildfires, I'm so glad you're hitting this, guys, is such an important issue, and it can happen here. When you have 1/4 of the state which is flammable pine barrens. It's a very important thing that people in New Jersey should know about. And thanks to you, they're learning. Through their nonprofit Next Gen STEM, their wildfire prevention and preparedness project, part of the Skills USA Community Service competition, Somerset County High School students Jashith Korabati and Rohan Patel, thank you both for what you're doing. And thanks for coming on today.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
You bet. Thank you. And when we come back, what began as a program connected to the Trenton Area Soup Kitchen has grown into a project that empowers self-taught local artists. We'll have the details. We're back in 2 minutes. All right, good morning. It is Thursday, March 12th, 2026. We have a temperature of 49 degrees. It's dropping at 8:30. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. Rain mixing with snow this afternoon, windy and blustery. Morning high of the upper 50s already falling. It's going to fall to around 40. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the detailed Garden State forecast.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
Yeah, so the temperature in northern New Jersey now is falling faster than Trenton, and I'm guessing because I'm
Mm.
closer to the water, or wherever. Is it easterly winds coming in right now? I don't know.
You're
You
closer
tell
to
me.
the front, which is coming from the north and
Oh,
west. So you'll hit the
gotcha.
colder air first, and then as the air slides its way south across New Jersey, everybody taps into the cold weather today. You look outside and it is dark. You have these dark, thick clouds that are working their way across New Jersey, and you can even see that as the sun rises, giving way to a very wet scene as the skies start to open up, giving us our wet weather today. So we start off this morning in the upper 50s and low 60s, but temperatures come crashing down by this afternoon. Hence, why you see a little bit of snow there. It's very odd to see a 60 next to a snow icon, but that's March for you, giving you the impression that that temperature falls very quickly today. It helps reset the pollen count, so good news is not anticipating any pollen over the next few days, especially coming off of yesterday's high of 82 degrees, back down through the 40s today, and then dropping into the 30s by this evening. So yeah, really chilly weather on the way. That rain steady right now north and west of the Turnpike. South and east of the Turnpike still warm, but you tap into the rain in cooler conditions through the course of the day, especially as all of that rain that falls today dries out by tomorrow. And then we stay dry through the weekend. Monday is our next chance of very wet weather with our persistent rains that'll return to start off next week. So there will be a little bit of snow mixing in with that rain at times by this afternoon. It all clears out tonight for a dry overnight, dry to start tomorrow, and then tomorrow afternoon, another round of clouds and showers after the morning sun. I think by Saturday, we're clear and dry again, but it's very windy on Saturday, and you'll feel that wind chill certainly by the afternoon. Then as we head into Sunday morning, maybe a few flurries in northern New Jersey before clouds take over, and then Monday morning starts rain again, and that rain lasts all throughout the day on Monday afternoon. So the next several days, seeing a big slide in temperatures all the way down into the 30s overnight and staying in the 30s, with the afternoon highs feeling more like the 40s thanks to those winds. By Monday, we're back to the wet weather, but I think we dry things out next week. Look at this, below average into the 20s by the middle of next week. So not exactly warming up when that sun returns after the next few days, certainly with the rain today. And then, of course, after the clouds down the shore and seeing that cooler trend take over into next weekend.
Thank you very much, Mike. I'm sorry. We are scouting for traffic desperately. And I know that sounds silly. Usually there's so much traffic to report at this time. There's very
Huh.
little. I think a lot of people are away on spring
Wow.
break. And as a result, the
Could
traffic is
be.
very light. That's a good thing. So, but
It
again,
is.
temperature dropping. Look out for the snow and the colder temperatures a little later. No major accumulations, just cold spots. Got it. Took notes. Took notes while you were talking. It's a good thing. All right, Mike, we'll check back with you, sir. It is 50 degrees in Trenton. And it's 50 degrees also northern New Jersey right now and dropping. Before it was like 49. It's fluctuating 49 to 50 in northern New Jersey, continuing to drop until it hits about 40 by later today. All right. In terms of, we should let you know we have a news conference happening at 11 o'clock this morning. It is the Flag Cities News Conference, and it's from yesterday, but for anybody interested in anything FIFA World Cup soccer related, you're going to want to pay attention. If you're a small business, if you just live in the community, anywhere in the northern New Jersey, New York City area, you're going to want to tune in. The only channel carrying it, us here at onnj.com on New Jersey and all of our streaming platforms. You'll want to check it out. We'll be broadcasting it in its entirety starting at 11 this morning, onnj.com, the Flag Cities news conference, which happened yesterday. And it's about all the communities that are going to be hosting events for FIFA World Cup action coming up this year. It's going to be amazing. So check it out at 11 a.m. All right, in terms of traffic, what we have now is 287. Let's take this camera if we can, Pam. 287 at I-80. All it is a little volume. And you could see there on the right side, not much. And I know, and that's a good thing. It's nice that we don't have to report like major accidents or anything, but it's just a little bit of volume and a lot of rain on the roadways. So take your time, give yourselves a little extra travel time. There's a debris spill that's been being worked on for over an hour. It's on Route 29 northbound, north of Byram, Kingswood Road in Kingwood Township. The right lane and right shoulder are closed as a result. And we have a Hudson River crossing to report right now. Lincoln Tunnel is going to cost you 35 minutes. In Holland is 25 to 30. GWB is what you're looking at. Upper and lower levels, upper on the right, lower on the left. It's still 40 to 45. And that's your heaviest spot basically in all of northern New Jersey and southern for that matter. There's really nothing to report, southern or central. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. All right, 8:35 is our time, and for 25 years, the Trenton Community Aid Team has been using art as a powerful tool for networking in the capital city. What began as a program connected to the Trenton area soup kitchen has grown into a project that empowers self-taught local artists, helping them develop their talents and share their work with the community. Anthony Catanese is the director of the Trenton Community Aid Team. We say good morning to you, Anthony.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Great to have you on. I have to ask you before we move on, is it Catanese, Catanese, Catanese?
It's Catanese.
Catanese. I always want to make sure because our ilk, I'm a Rosato. We always want to make sure we got it pronounced properly. So Catanese. Thank you, Anthony. All right. So tell me about how the program began.
Well, it all started at Task, which is the Trenton Area Soup Kitchen. And it started with one of our artists called Herman Shorty Rose. His sister worked there, and he would just kind of hang out there and stuff. And he just started doing art. And then people just started like gathering around him and started doing art with him and learning from him, his art style. And soon it just became like a group. And they started meeting once a week and having an art program. And a volunteer there named Susan Darley, she started kind of organizing it and getting room for them to do it and getting them supplies and stuff like that. And it just continued to grow and grow and grow until they had almost like 50 members. And people started really noticing their art, and they had the art hanging in the soup kitchen for everybody to see. And people really started noticing, so they made it an official group. And then eventually people wanted to like buy their art and get their art out there in the galleries and things like that. So it became a nonprofit, which started the Trenton Community Aid Team. So, and they still have the program 25 years later. We do it every Tuesday from 10:30 to 1 o'clock at the soup kitchen. And
So
once they became a nonprofit.
I'm sorry to cut
Okay.
in. So this was right at the turn of the century, right into the new millennium is when this all started. But it's what's amazing is there really weren't that many outlets for artists, and that's such a shame. But now they have a great one.
Yeah, see, with art, I feel like art programs with adults, people don't like take it seriously. Especially when I tell people about the program, they always think it's about like for children and things like that. But I try to explain to them that art is really good therapy and it's a really good way to get things out. Especially people like at the soup kitchen really sometimes maybe don't have an outlet to get out their emotions and things like that. Art really does work for them. We still have people who just come in and they say, "I'm not an artist. I've never done art. I've never done anything like that." So we'll just come in. I give them some paper, some pencils and crowns, and they'll sit there and draw, and they come back a week after week. And again, all of our artists are self-taught. So they're all artists who just sat down one day and just began doing it. And they've all created their own styles. When you look at our artist art, you can really tell who's who and the way they express themselves.
Isn't it amazing to see that come out of somebody's mind and heart and be put on paper? It's a like you have a peek into the person's brain when you see that out on a canvas or on a piece of paper, and you can feel what that person is feeling. Art conveys feelings and emotions like nothing else can. Words can't do it like art can. So one of the exciting new initiatives you guys have is what the TCAT a mobile art bus. So what is that, and how does it bring creative opportunities directly to neighborhoods?
So what we're going to do is right now we're going to convert a schoolie bus into a mobile art studio. So we'll have all the supplies, they need in there some workspaces, electric for them to work. And what we're going to do is we're going to go around the city in conjunction with Task. So Task has a mobile food truck. So what we're going to do is at locations there we're also going to bring the art bus and kind of like we did at the soup kitchen, bring people in, let them explore their artistic abilities, and also just give them an outlet for like some art therapy and to explore things maybe they've never explored before themselves. So we'll be going out to places like that, and we'll also be doing events. But our real thing is just to spread the message of TCAT and the resilience our artists have had, and just try to spread that throughout the city and give other people a chance to really like unlock their artistic abilities and ways to express themselves. And also, like I said, like really the art therapy, a way to maybe just deal with some of the things they have going on in their lives, especially in the world today. People need art more than ever.
And a lot of people have difficulty communicating verbally, but yet they can take the time and let their feelings come out on a canvas of some sort, whether that canvas be a wall, right, or an actual canvas, or a piece of paper. That's a way of safely putting out their feelings without confrontation and without somebody cutting them off, et cetera. So I can imagine that for many people that might be their only way of expressing their emotion.
Right. I think it's also a way like through art is that you're expressing yourself, but like somebody else can look at your art and find a totally different meaning in it, you know? And so you're kind of bringing your emotions and your ideas, but you're also unlocking other people's emotions and their ideas when they see their art, which is what I love the most. Which is another thing with the art program is people always call it art class, and it's not an art class. And I always tell people, we don't like tell people how to make art. We don't tell them like, oh, today we're doing this, or today it's no, I want to see you express yourselves. I mean, I will help them, like if they need to have art questions, like how to accomplish something. But the main thing is really just to get their ideas and basically like their soul onto the canvas rather than just here's how you properly shade a circle. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Well, there's also now a new art wayfinding initiative in Trenton. So what does that involve and how's it going to help people discover public art around the city?
So we're going to have a video monitor and wayfinding maps at the train station. This way, people who are coming in and out of the city can find out what's happening in the city and all the great, amazing art programs. So we'll have a video monitor there, which will let everybody know within like a 1.5 mile radius of the train station of all the places they can go to check out amazing art, discover new things, discover all the great things that are actually happening in Trenton. We'll also have murals across the street at the cemetery there, where a local mural artist, Leon Rainbow, will be doing 4 times a year, switching them up to let people know where to go. And basically, yeah, that's it. We're just letting people know where the amazing things are in Trenton from a walking distance from the train station.
I love it. And what's a website for people to get more information?
Our website is tcatteam.org, but that's TCATEAM.org. And you can also find us on like Facebook and Instagram and things like that.
Love it. Using art as a tool for networking in the capital city. Anthony Catanese, director of the Trenton Community Aid Team. Thank you so much for coming on and for what you do. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having us and letting us spread TCAT's message to everybody. I really appreciate it.
Amen. It's a great message. Have a great day, Anthony. Thank you.
Same to you. Thank
And
you.
we now have, you bet, 52 degrees right now, 8:43. The demand for energy in New Jersey rapidly increasing. We're going to talk a little about that. And then rain mixing with snow this afternoon. It'll be windy and blustery. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato at 45 minutes past the hour. We'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast for your locale.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
mean, Mike, how often does somebody get to say the word locale?
Look, not often. That's like a $5 word. How often does somebody say $5 word anymore, right? Mm-hmm. Throwing
Look at
it
the
back.
opportunities we present here. I mean, only at New Jersey.
Only on New Jersey. Only in March in New Jersey would you have an 80-degree day to be followed by snow and 30s. And that's what we have forecast for today. We started off very warm yesterday, and now this morning with the rain that already fell in the last month, 130% of average, we are well on our way to make up the rainfall deficit. So we're basically resetting to zero, but there's still the deficit from the last few months. And that's what the drought monitor shows, especially in the northwestern corner of the state. Extreme drought still showing up because a lot of that snow, as it melts, not exactly hitting the rain gauges. So our forecast brings back the dry weather for the Southwest. In New Jersey, there's a good chance of seeing the rain right through the end of the month. Equal chances of that, but cooler weather ahead as March plays out, with some warmth locked up to the south and west of the country. So our forecast today sees temperatures fall very quickly. We're already in the 40s right now, down into the 30s by this evening, with the rain and snow taking over for the rest of this afternoon. And with that, that cold weather sticks around. Even as the sun returns tomorrow, we only make it to the 40s. That's average. Chilly on Saturday with very gusty winds, cloudy on Sunday, rain returns on Monday, and then next week, waking up in the 20s and 30s with dry weather returning for Wednesday and Thursday. So it's a wet start to next week, but we eventually dry things out. The shore points don't exactly get milder. It stays cool down the shore, even with 30s waking up, 40s by the afternoon. So yeah, your typical March feel is back, even though we kind of take a step back in terms of temperature going into the rest of the month, Ken.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. Enjoy your weekend, sir. I'll be
You too.
dodging the snowflakes. That's my job. And then next week, it looks like it's going to be a little chilly to begin, but then hopefully, as we get closer to spring, will we see
Mm-hmm.
spring?
We should warm things up by next Friday, the first day of spring.
All right, fingers crossed. Thank you so much, Mike. Always great having you. And it is 49 degrees right now in Trenton, 53 degrees northern New Jersey. And again, the temperature has been dropping significantly, 8 degrees since the beginning of the broadcast. In only 2 hours, it's dropped pretty significantly. As Mike said, it'll continue to do so. In terms of traffic, let's take a look at the New Jersey Turnpike, shall we? We have a crash on the Turnpike outer roadway northbound, north of interchange 13 by I-278, the Goethals Bridge. You can see they have the emergency vehicles on the scene taking care of it. This is in Elizabeth, 2 left lanes blocked. That's causing about a 2-mile delay right now. Again, New Jersey Turnpike crash on the New Jersey Turnpike outer roadway northbound, north of interchange 13, I-278, Goethals Bridge in Elizabeth, 2 left lanes blocked. Also still have that debris on Route 29 northbound, north of Byram, Kingswood Road and Kingwood Township. The right lane and right shoulder are blocked, only 1 lane getting through. Your Hudson River crossings right now, the Holland Tunnel is costing you 25 minutes in, 30 at the Lincoln. GWB upper and lower levels right now, you can see pretty heavy and pretty wet on the roadways. It's going to cost you 35 minutes on the upper, which is on the right, and 40 minutes lower level on the left to get into Manhattan. 8:48 and ABC News reporting the FBI warned California that Iran could launch a drone attack on the West Coast. State and federal authorities are on it. Meantime, the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad is on alert after threats of possible attacks by Iran. Meanwhile, 3 ships off of Iran's coast in the Strait of Hormuz have been struck by projectiles. Shipping traffic through the strait has ground to a near standstill since the U.S. and Israel launched airstrikes on Iran back on February 28th. Of course, this is temporarily impacting the cost of oil and gas. A lot of prices are up, but that's going to come down pretty soon. President Trump says, in spite of all of this, the U.S. and Israel have accomplished way more than expected at this point.
I mean, for them, it's a war. For us, it's turned out to be easier than we thought. But think of it, they had thousands of missiles, 8,000 missiles. We got many of them before they got to launch. They have drones all over the place. We got many. Now we're knocking out the drone plants, as you know, going fast. They started talking about mines, so we hit 28 mine ships as of this moment, 28. Like using the same weapon, the exact same weapon that we use against the drug dealers.
U.S. forces have sunk several Iranian ships. This all happened Tuesday, including 16 mine layer ships. 8:50, a former FBI agent believes the decision not to call in civilian search experts in the hunt for Nancy Guthrie could signal that authorities are close to making an arrest. United Cajun Navy, a volunteer-led search organization, announced last week that it had offered to help the Pima County Sheriff's Department in the search for the missing 84-year-old as it reaches its month mark. However, they say they did not get a response. Nancy Guthrie was reported missing February 1st. Her family is offering $1 million reward for her recovery. Former Vice President Kamala Harris is canceling her California book tour, eliminating the remainder of her currently scheduled stops in the Golden State. On Tuesday, the former presidential candidate pulled out of her book tour stops for her memoir, 107 Days, for the cities of Sacramento, San Diego, and Anaheim. The appearances had been scheduled for next month. Ticketmaster refunded ticket holders and explained that cancellations of a conversation with Kamala Harris were due to a scheduling conflict. Harris's last event was in Oakland March 3rd, and she remains scheduled for an event in Denver on April 2nd. California officials have issued a heat advisory affecting more than 5 million residents, warning that dangerously high temperatures will grip the region through tomorrow evening. The National Weather Service is urging people to stay indoors during the hottest parts of the day today and tomorrow, as an unusually early season heat event pushes temps into the 90s across much of Southern California, just the opposite for the Northeast. We're getting a cold spell for the next few days. Forecasters out west say the 34-hour advisory covers San Diego, Orange, Riverside, San Bernardino, Los Angeles, and Ventura counties, and could lead to heat-related illnesses, especially for people who do not have access to air conditioning or those who have to spend time working outdoors. A Honduran migrant was arrested Tuesday for randomly shoving two strangers onto Upper East Side subway tracks over the weekend. One of the victims, an 83-year-old man. 34-year-old Byron Hernandez was nabbed by the U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force and the NYPD at a homeless shelter in Brooklyn. He allegedly pushed the elderly victim and a 31-year-old man at the Lexington Avenue 63rd Street station midday on Sunday. Hernandez was charged with attempted murder, attempted assault, and reckless endangerment. And the parents of a girl who was critically wounded in last month's mass shooting in Canada are suing ChatGPT creator OpenAI, claiming that it knew that trans gunman Jesse Van Rootseller was planning the mass murder. 12-year-old Maya Gabala was shot 3 times during the attack at her British Columbia school back on February 10th, once in the head. She suffered a catastrophic brain injury that will leave her with permanent disabilities. The lawsuit claims that 18-year-old trans gunman Van Rootseller used the chatbot ChatGPT to plan the shooting that killed 8 people and wounded 27 others. Some ChatGPT employees say they wanted to notify police about Van Rootseller, but the company wouldn't let them. The mass shooting was the latest by a transgender killer, sparking fears of a mental health crisis. 8:53, far left-wing New York City Council members have proposed a record-breaking $30 per hour minimum wage bill, a measure that could nearly double the city's current baseline pay of $17. Employers with upward of 500 employees would lift worker salaries to $20 an hour by 2027, with steady increases every year to 2030, when it will end at $30 per hour if the bill is passed, and there's a good chance it will. Smaller employers with fewer than 500 workers, they get to save $1. They would pay $29 an hour by 2031. The change would affect upward of 1 million workers in New York City currently making minimum wage and struggling to make ends meet. Progressives have long called for a super high minimum wage that's more in line with the city's high cost of living, but many business leaders warned it's going to put a lot of people out of business. It'll be a costly disaster for employers. California recently tried a move like this. It was a mess for them. Employers simply eliminated positions if they could even stay in business. They dumped additional workers and they took the additional workload and added that to employees already getting the minimum wage who already have long hours. They also cut hours for many other people and replaced workers with automation. The net result, fewer available jobs, massive workloads for workers, higher costs for customers, and businesses going out of business. So increasing the minimum wage sounds great, but it doesn't usually work. Usually proposed by people who have never owned a business or run a company. 8:55 now, and after 2 long years, a Texas family has been reunited with a beloved pet. It's a pet dog named Coco. Coco was found wandering here in the Garden State in Clark. Police scanned Coco's microchip and quickly tracked down her shocked owners back in Texas. who arranged to fly in for the joyful reunion. In the meantime, Clark police spoiled Coco at the station, feeding, bathing, and playing with her in the dispatch room instead of sending her to a shelter. Over the weekend, the family arrived. They flew up, and Coco happily leapt back into their arms. Nobody knows how Coco ended up so far from home, but she's doggone happy to be back where she belongs. Once again, to remind everybody, we will air the entirety of the Flag Cities World Cup press conference at 11 a.m. Do we have that soundbite, the clips of the sound bites from earlier, Pam? Let's run those if we can.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are proud to be the host county here for the World Cup. We know that this will shine a bright light on who we are, what we represent, and we will deliver a wonderful, wonderful event to all the people of the world, and they will learn and know about who and what we are as a county, as a region, and as a state.
And what was so exciting about Flag Cities for us is we can actually put on, I think, the first event, June 12th, a celebration right in the heart of downtown Jersey City, right on our streets, bring in the LED boards, bring in the small businesses, create the extraordinary excitement of the World Cup in the heart of Jersey City.
For many months and probably a couple of years now, we have been talking about how will we leverage and maximize the fact that the greatest game on the planet, the greatest sporting event on the planet is coming to our backyard for 8 games.
And once again, we will air the entirety of the Flag Cities World Cup press conference at 11 a.m. Anyone interested in anything in any way, FIFA World Cup, you're going to want to tune in 11 a.m. Tell all your friends, tell your business friends too. 11 a.m. ONNJ.com, the only place we're going to be running that news conference. Very important to check it out. It is now 49 degrees at 8:58. Meteorologist Mike Favetta says rain mixing with snow this afternoon. It'll be windy and blustery. The morning highs that we hit in the 50s falling now to near 40. That's on New Jersey Mornings for your Thursday, March 12th, 2026. I'm Ken Rosato. Remember, you could stream us at ONNJ.com, ONLACA.com, Roku, Fire TV News on Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, YouTube, Facebook, and X. We're also streamed live on Substack, Rumble, Twitch, and Local Now. And we'll catch you again tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Tell all your friends about us. Till then, have a wonderful day.